I have my coffee. I'm ready to go. I wanted to film this video today to walk you guys through how I became a real estate agent. And it is a pretty long story, so this video might be a little bit longer than usual, but I wanted to take you guys through my journey of how I became a real estate agent. And it's a pretty long 10-year story. I ended up graduating with an accounting degree. I wanted to become an accountant when I was in college, and I remember when I went to college and I was studying, I had all my friends and they're like, are you sure you want to become an accountant? Like, we just don't see that in you. Like, we don't think that that's something that you'll be happy in. And I kind of took offense at that, and instead of really thinking about that, I just thought, what do you mean I shouldn't do accounting? Is it because you don't believe in me? Like, you don't think that I'm smart enough? Instead of thinking, oh, like, maybe they're telling me this because I might not like it because of my personality. So I ended up graduating with an accounting degree when I was 21, and at that time I already had an internship. So I was an accounting intern, and honestly my internship was so much fun. Like, I had such a blast that I thought that that's how it was gonna be. So when I became a full-time accountant, because they hired me, I went from being an intern to a full-time employee, and it was nothing like being an intern. So I was an accountant for about, I don't know, 3 to 4 years full-time, but I was so depressed and I hated my job. I remember typing in front of my computer and looking at the whole stuff, like, you know, everyone else in the room, and I'm like, everyone is just at their computer typing away like robots. I was like, I'm like a robot. I would look around and everyone else would be doing the same thing, and I'm like, I hate being a robot. I'm here at my computer 9 to 5, and I'm just in front of a computer. I don't even get to talk to anyone. I've analyzed, you know, numbers on Excel, which I thought I would enjoy, but I hated it so much. Ugh, just thinking about it. Honestly, I don't think that I can ever go back. I don't think I could never go back to corporate America, number one, and I could never go back to being an accountant. So I was an accountant for 3 to 4 years, and then I decided to start applying to other positions. So I started applying to HR positions, and nobody wanted me because they're like, why are you as an accountant applying as an HR representative? Like, it didn't make any sense. But somehow I landed an interview to be a sales career. I forgot what it was, to be honest. But I was gonna go back into sales, which I loved. I love sales. But then they told me my salary, and it was significantly less than what I was making. And you know, when you make a certain amount of money, you're just like, you can't go backwards. It just doesn't make any sense. And a part of me knew, like, if I go backwards, I will be able to climb up, and then I'll be happy. But it wasn't enough, and so I didn't take the position, and I kept applying, and finally I landed a position as a financial analyst. So I went from accounting to finance, and I loved it. I loved being in finance. But I didn't love my manager. Me and her would get into little arguments. She was a micromanager. Yeah, she was just a micromanager, and it was very difficult for me to work with her. I loved her personally, got along with her very well on a personal level, but professionally it was really difficult. And it's so funny because I look back at my career in corporate America, and for some reason I always got stuck with the worst managers. When I was in accounting, there were 2 managers, and I got stuck with one that didn't know what he was doing. Then I went into finance, and there were 2 managers, and I got stuck with the one that was a micromanager. And so that didn't end up working out. I was in finance for about a year and a half, I want to say, almost 2 years. And then after being in finance, I went into HR. So somehow I was able to leverage what I was doing in finance to get a job in HR analytics. So I went into HR shortly after, and I should preface this by saying that from the age of 21, when I was in accounting, up until I got into the new position in HR, I was always doing things after work. I was volunteering. I helped create a nonprofit. I was just out there seeking my purpose because I didn't know what I was meant to do. I just knew that accounting and finance was not for me. I just knew it. I'm like, this is not meant for me. I need to be in front of people. When I was in sales, I was in sales when I was in high school and part of college. I was in sales. I was selling shoes. And I was really good at it. I was really good at selling shoes. I was like top #1 employee. The managers loved me. I knew how to sell. And so I wanted to go back into selling. I didn't know what that would mean. I didn't know how that would look. So at one point, I was like, maybe I'll become a financial advisor, because I was always really good with my money, always. And I was always reading the financial books, Susie Orman, Robert Kiyosaki. I was always into personal finance. So I thought maybe I'll do personal finance. And so I like looked into it, and then I met one guy who was in it who didn't like it. So that was a no-go. So here I am in HR analytics. I'm 27 years old, 28 years old. And at this point in time, I'm just kind of living my life. I'm just enjoying myself. And I got pregnant. I got pregnant very unexpectedly. And I had my daughter, who is now going to be 4 years old. And as cliche as it sounds, because I know everyone says it, most people do, she truly changed my world. She changed my entire life. And I account a big part of where I am today because I had her. And she made me look at life a lot differently. When I had her, I had to now think, what is my priority? Which is obviously my child. But at that point in time, or before I had my daughter, I was doing a bunch of things. I was volunteering, I was partying, and I'm like, I can't do those things anymore. I don't have the time to do those things anymore. And so that's when I really started to reassess my entire life. When I had my daughter, I had already one rental under me. So I had bought a condo and I had it rented out completely. So I was trying to get into property management. I thought, this is a good area to explore. I get to talk to people and I get to do it on the side. I started networking with other people. So I started to go to networking events, and I met this guy, and he said, you know so much about real estate, property management, like, why don't you get into real estate as an agent? And he just lit a fire under my belly. And I'm like, oh, you're so right. Like, why didn't I think of that? Like, I love real estate. I know a lot about real estate and personal finance. I love working with people. So I think my daughter was like almost a year old, and I started studying for my license. And I basically studied for 3 months, and I got licensed as a real estate agent. And that's pretty much how I got into real estate as an agent. I honestly thank God for the people that I met through that entire journey, who motivated me and encouraged me to get my license, because they saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself at that point in time. And I'm really thankful, because real estate, being an agent, I love it. I love everything about real estate. everything about real estate. And you know, the whole premise of me getting my license is to educate. It's to inform. And you know, when I was renting out my condo, I was renting it out to one of my good friends. And I remember a conversation that I had with her where she's like, Judith, I have so much student loan debt, I can't buy a home. And she was actually one of my first clients. I was able to help her and guide her to purchase her first home. And that is something that I'm truly passionate about, that I feel like there's not enough education. It's not taught in the home on how to buy a home, how to buy a house. And that is my primary purpose, is to educate. It's to help other people understand what it is to own a home, to own an asset. And you know, there's more to the story, because during that time as well, I was working part-time. So I didn't just get my license and jump right into real estate. I was working part-time as an agent and full-time corporate America. And keep in mind that I also had my child to take care of. So it was a lot. And I did that for 2 years. And I was so stressed out at the end of the second year. I was burned out. I was so burned out, and I was having health issues. And I'm like, you know what? It's time to just take the leap of faith and just quit corporate America and go full-time into real estate. So that's what I did. But it was hard, and it was a journey, and it wasn't easy. And I would advise anyone, if you're in a position where you don't feel happy in your job, to start exploring other things outside of work. And you know, if you want to quit your job and you're afraid, save up the money. Make sure you have the emergency funds. Before I quit my job, I made sure that I had, you know, 6 months of reserves. And by then, you know, I already had enough business that I was confident in my ability to continue generating business. So make sure that you build the skills, that you're skilled enough that if you do leave your full-time job, that you can take your business to the next level. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. And if you guys have any questions about getting into real estate as an agent, please feel free to message me or send me a comment. I'd love to chat more about it. And yeah.